Okay. He asked me don't forget to turn this on. Okay, turn it on. Can you hear me now? Okay. This lecture tonight, I'm going to move this away from here because I don't need it, so I can see these people right here, so they can see me. Let me just find out the piece of paper. I wake up last night at 3 o'clock in the morning to prepare the lecture for today. And this is what I wrote at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I keep writing. I said, no, you got to work next day. You have lots of patients. Then I shut it off and I said, you know what? I'm just going to tell them we have to lecture for 15 hours to cover the lecture. The lecture we are about to give tonight is about aging process. And I put this thing together. I don't want you to use it now because this is going to come through during the lecture. But I want you to understand why the lecture on aging is probably the most important lecture.
Is it turned on?
Yeah, maybe now it's on. Yeah. Okay, let me bring this closer. How do you fix it?
I'll be there.
You can focus it if you want to for me. Let me just put some picture of somebody I don't like. Yeah, it's focused fine. When we decided to do the lecture this year, we had 4 lectures. We spoke about the heart with circulation, if you remember. How many people here for the first time? So we have about 15 people first time. So the rest of you heard me before, right? So we give another lecture on brain circulation, and that was the second lecture. And the third lecture was the last one I gave here, which about digestion. And I discovered something in that lecture I didn't discover before, that if you don't complicate the lecture by all these pictures and all this stuff, people like it more. So I go through about 1,000 slides today to select about 100 to use. Then in the last minute, I decide to push it away and then lecture without it. And I asked the people after the digestion lecture, how was it? They said it was a great lecture. Then I did it in Milwaukee. They said it was a great lecture. Then I gave the lecture on aging again the same way in Milwaukee last week. And I see Sherry, she was there. And she said, that was a great lecture. So I said, well, if you like it without all these pictures, I don't have to copy anything. The main thing of these lectures is to understand why we get sick. All the lectures. Why do we get sick? What can we do to reverse it? And this is just a summary to the whole thing. In the title always something Doris worked on to try to create a title to attract people to come. But actually, if you consider all my lectures for the 30 years I've been giving lectures, over 30, actually 35 years, you'll find out this is tonight is probably the most important lecture in 30 years. Why is that? Because in that lecture, I have 30 years of practice using shackled products on patients in different diseases, and then also practicing on patients that refuse to take shackled products. They want to take something else, which I don't sell it, so I don't force anybody to take. If they don't want it, I said, that's fine, it's your choice. This is what I take, but if you want to take it, I take shackled. If you don't want to take it, you want to take something else, it's up to you. And then I have a group of patients who refuse to take supplements at all. They say, I don't want to have anything to do with it, I'm just fine. So in this lecture tonight, it's really the summary of everything I have done clinically for 30 years. If you get an internist, which I am, cardiologist, and a professor of biochemistry and agronomy in front of you, telling you things about nutrition, about a product, or about something that he had nothing to do with it, he doesn't sell it, and he also have the experience with 15,000 patients, then you have to say to yourself, you know, either I'm going to believe it or I'm stupid. Since you don't want to say the second word, then you said, I believe it. So I advise you, don't challenge anything I say, because everything we have right here is being published and published and published and documented thousands of times in the literature. Are you following me or no?
Yeah.
I'm not done to give the FDA a chance to go after me like they did 30 years ago. When every lecture I have to worry what they're going to arrest me for this time. And they were, you know, every single lecture when I started, just get always questioned by DA, by the court, and defend myself why I'm saying nutrition is good, why I'm saying DDT is bad and hormones are bad. These are the questions I get asked all the time. And I wonder, am I in Russia or United States? You know, I mean, if I'm in Russia, I can see the point. You know, you're not supposed to say talk. But in America, you question a guy that he's saying nutrition is good. Not only that, but even arrest him. And I'm sure most of you know that. I keep repeating that in many times in my lifetime, that 1972 I was arrested for saying that adding hormones to the food is wrong, and pesticides in food is wrong, and taking vitamin is right, organic food is good. For those four things, I was arrested. But you know what? This happened in the first, I came in 1968, this happened in 1969, so I'm only 1 year in the country, so it didn't really bother me that much, because being a professor before I came and a scientist, I had 4 other countries have me in their list to come to them anytime. United States, Canada, Australia, Brazil, and United Kingdom. So I applied, and they all said, welcome, you want to come, come. So I wasn't worried if I don't make it here, I just go to Canada, I go to Brazil, I have to go to a country with lots of agriculture so I can do my research. I cannot go to like Holland or United Kingdom or something like that. These are not my country. I want to be in a country that I can prove that nutrition does work by having research. Unfortunately, when I came, I found out that the field I am in, which I finished my PhD in, is called pharmacognosy, which is the science of agricultural medicine, is closed. And the field of pharmacology, which is pharmacological synthetic compounds, started. You understand? So when I went to UC Davis, California, and I said, I heard about you, and can I join you? They said, oh, our department is closed. When I went to UC Berkeley, they said, our department is closed. When I went to UC Riverside, I was in California, they said it's closed. Then I sat with my 4 Egyptian friends. We all from the same department, agronomist, biochemist, nutritionist. We all PhDs, and we all immigrant, and we all had no job. We clean floors, we clean bathrooms, 4 of us. That's the only job we can get, because the language was a barrier. But we all felt good. Feel good to be free, felt good that you were in a country that eventually you're going to make it, feel good you make a difference. Then when we find out all these departments are closed, we were very stressed. I sat down, I remember in Downey, I don't know if some of you know Downey, California, or not, that's where we lived, and I told them, guys, we have to change career. I said, you got to be kidding. I said, no, we have to change your career. I mean it. I don't think there is a future for nutrition in America. It's finished. Because if this department are closed, mean there is no money coming in to support it, what we're going to be doing? We're going to be nothing. So we all switched to medicine, only to get jobs, to become medical doctors so we can have a job. You follow me or no? But all of us had that all this knowledge behind us. When we became doctors, we all applied our knowledge to our patients right away. So what I'm going to discuss with you tonight about aging is the process of aging is a process that many of you think that my father gave it to me, my mother gave it to me. My grandmother gave it to me, my great-grandmother. I have a family history of that disease. I have a family history of that disease. You heard of that, right? Mm-hmm. I have to prove it wrong, that theory to you tonight, that everything we have is acquired. Even if it was inherited, which Viveks will be great to correct it, still acquired. You follow me or no? Mm-hmm. I want you to take you back. And I want to go back in history to the first man and woman walk this earth. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, you still believe in Adam and Eve. If you're Jewish, you believe in Adam and Eve. If you're a Muslim, you believe in Adam and Eve. Are you following me or no? So there is no conflict at all between the 3 beliefs about the creation that we did not come from monkeys. Even there are some people think so. I tell them, maybe you are, but I'm not. So in any case, I don't want to get involved in theology. Even I do lecture in churches, synagogues, schools, mosques. Anybody invite me to lecture about nutrition, I love to go. Why? Because I want people to help other people. I want people to live a long time. I want to prove to you tonight, just from history itself, that human beings were created in the very beginning perfect. The first man and the first woman that we came from, they delivered a child who has cells. Are you following me so far or not? I'm not going to tell you what's a cell, because I assume you know that much. Okay? So, the cell, it has inside it the genetic code of that individual. How long ago was that child born from Adam and Eve? just guess. Some people say 20,000 years, 12,000 years. I know some of the people who believe we came from monkeys, they say 5 million years. That's fine if you want to believe that, but it's really is not that long. It's about maybe, because I did study very much the Old Testament and the Torah and the Quran and all this scripture in both Hebrew and Arabic and Aramaic and all, and I find something similar, that human race was after the Ice Age. Are you following me or no? You deny that we had an Ice Age, right? So we couldn't be alive before the Ice Age. So Ice Age was from the equator, went north and south, right or wrong? Is that what happened, right? That's why the oil in the Middle East, in that area, because the trees went down, and when it went way up north, there was no trees left to go through. In the south or north, there's no oil there at all. It's just in the middle of the earth. This kid right here was born. Did he have any genetic damage in his chromosome?
No.
It couldn't be, right? Does it make sense or no?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, argue with me about it. You know, he said yes, he had multiple sclerosis or he had heart disease, and then I prove you wrong. But I advise you not to try, because you make fun of yourself. So it is a pyramid system. We came, you yourself know you had a mother and father. You had a grandmother and grandfather. Go back and back and back and back and back, then we have to come to one. You follow me? And I just feel sorry for the people who believe that we came from monkeys and we crawled out of the sea and all this garbage. I don't want to get involved in this right now, because if I believe in that, then I'm going to be destroying 3 religions completely out of existence, and then we're going to be all whatever we are. So I don't know. I like what I have right here. So you believe the first man was perfect. Chromosomes were perfect. If we look at the chromosomes of the first child, which it has on it the genes on it, there is absolutely no defect. Right? Then we have now after 400 generations, if you say 20,000 years, give every generation 50 years, let's say. After 400 generations, we have cells of us now that we look at the nucleus. We have chromosomes, just like the first ones, but full of disease. You follow me or no? So, how this has happened, what can we do to reverse it? That's the topic of the lecture. Very simple. We go first to the very beginning. A human being has to have 3 things to function perfect. One, has to have nutrition, have to have sleep and exercise. And the third thing right here, have to be able to detoxify his body to survive. So the first person was created, came to this earth, created in this earth. It doesn't really matter what shape or form. If you believe that, that's what I believe anyway. Then he did not have a car, he didn't have a big house, he didn't have this, he didn't have that. He was eating food around him. So the food around him were vegetables, mostly, and fruits and grains and roots. But they had everything in it. And they have perfect health. Then we go down here to us, we find something went wrong. Let's look at the nutrition part. What went wrong? Nutrition, it has to be. You have to agree with me on that. We must have protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, water, mineral, and fibers, and oxygen. So if this something gonna go wrong to us as a human race, in nutrition part, something went wrong here. And if we look at the curves of human race, and we study the human race, we find out that we did not have serious diseases until 1805. How do we know that? When we go to the soldiers, from like English soldiers occupying the world, or the French or Italian, they write down everything about the soldiers. Before 1805, there was no complaints about obesity. Nobody said I have a chest pain. Nobody was saying I'm short of breath. Nobody said I have a sweet tooth. Nobody said I urinate a lot. Nobody said my heart flip-flop. Are you following me or no? So then we look at what happened in 1800s. We start having so much white bread and sugar. That's the main two things we start to do. Can having white bread and sugar cause a disease? Okay, the proof is we have a lecture already about that 3 years ago called metabolic syndrome. And we talked in that lecture about omega-3 and metabolic syndrome and the Eskimos and all that stuff, and we made it very clear that time that if you consume lots of sugar or white bread, and then you're going to overload the liver with sugar, we call sugar load, glucose load, and then the liver in return cannot tolerate that much sugar coming in the form of sugar or the form of chocolate or fruit juice, or even in the form of white bread, and the liver doesn't know what to do. The liver have one order only: give enough sugar to the brain. The rest of the body is not important. So the liver main function is to be sure the brain has enough sugar. So that's why we like sugar. If you don't have enough sugar, you'll sweat, you have hypoglycemia, you get hungry, you really want to have something sweet because it feels good. Why? Because the brain, that furnace inside the head right here, is 24 hours a day working on sugar. So the brain doesn't care if you're going to get it from chocolate, you get it from sugar, from white bread, or from whole wheat, it doesn't matter. The brain wants sugar. But how much sugar the brain wants is not very much. So the liver sends the sugar to the brain, and the balance of it send a little bit to the muscle. 75% of your sugar you take goes to the brain, and 25% goes to the muscles. So the heart and all the muscles get 25%, and the brain gets 75%. So you cannot deny the brain from sugar because it will let you know. You will get dizzy, you will go after sugar. But the rest of the sugar, the liver doesn't know what to do with it. The liver is so sweet. From all the sugar came in for 200 years been happening. The liver had no choice except to convert it to triglycerides, fat, and put it around the waist. Then we developed called central obesity. We all have around the world, around the waist, triglycerides, and cholesterol, and LDL. And the doctors thought by giving cholesterol drugs, they can help the liver. It doesn't work. Cholesterol drug, it has nothing to do. The cholesterol you have in your blood is from your liver. It has nothing to do with the food you eat. You follow me or not? If you change your diet even, if even you have a diet with zero cholesterol, you're still gonna make cholesterol if the liver is sick. So all the drugs you're gonna be taking to lower the cholesterol, it doesn't do you any good, except it's gonna destroy you. Because the main thing, the problem with sugar, we used to think it's the pancreas, diabetes, turned out to be the liver, not the pancreas. So it turned out to be that the people with diabetes, after 1805, have tons of insulin. You do the insulin blood level, my patients, 100%, my diabetic patients, their insulin level is very high. They don't need extra insulin. So what happened to them? They cannot assimilate the sugar. So the liver converts that to fat, and it goes around the waist, it goes inside the arteries, and also the liver starts converting some of it to growth hormone. So it's telling you to grow up. So if you're a kid, you eat lots of white bread and white sugar, you're going to grow fast. You're going to get taller, boys or girls. And then once you reach puberty, and then you consume more sugar, or your parents dead, you cannot get any longer, then you grow forward. Then you start having skin tags. The eye start going up. Then the kids need glasses. The polyps in the colon. The ovaries start getting bigger, younger age. The girls start having menarche at the age of 9, 10, 11. It used to be 16 and 17 in the older days, before 1805. So we start having diseases from cancer. Also, the liver will make salamide that causes cancer. And growth hormone itself causes cancer because it's telling the ovary to grow. So the breast cancer came after that, the ovarian cancer, and the prostate cancer related to sugar, and all kind of cancer related to sugar. So if we look at the human race, we find out that we have done something wrong to the way we eat. We have consumed the wrong protein. So we switch from lentils and beans to pork and animal protein because it tastes better. Animal protein have glutamic acid, which that's what MSG is, monosodium glutamate, MSG, glutamate. Have you tasted MSG? If you put it on rotten meat, it tastes great. MSG will make anything. If you put it on dirt, it tastes good. The MSG is beef flavored. So what happened is that the beef became popular because it has that MSG flavor in it that human being likes to have. So the protein, rather than eating vegetable protein as this our ancestors did, and little bit of animal, we consume mostly animal, a little bit of vegetable. This is clear or no? Yeah. And that itself will create disease. Because animal protein, it's good up to limit. But lentils and beans are more superior protein. To get soy protein right there, is, compared to steak, is much better. Why is it much better? Because scientifically it makes sense. 2 billion people in the Orient, they consume mostly soy protein. Animals eat only vegetable protein, they're healthy. What did the dinosaur eat? What does the elephant eat? Well, I raise horses. What do I feed them? Do I give them steaks and eggs? No. We give them alfalfa, and they're strong. So why? Because vegetable protein is healthier for you than animal protein. You follow me or not? I am not saying fish is bad, chicken is bad, turkey is bad, beef is bad, milk is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying milk is great, and beef, if it's organic, is great, and fish is great, but too much of it is not what we designed for. We are designed to be mostly vegetable protein creatures, just like the horses are. But we can eat animal protein if we want to once in a while. So, having the animal protein contributing to our problems. Then having the wrong carbohydrate, like I mentioned, the white flour and the sugar contributing to the other problem. Then having the wrong fat contributing to other problem. What did our ancestors have for fat through the whole world? Was it animal fat or was oil? Olive oil, sesame oil, all the oil. It was oil, isn't it? Was a seed, you squeeze it, gets oil, right? What cheaper than catching a whale or catching an animal? It's a lot of work to get that fat from an animal. You have to kill him, and you get to get the fat. Well, the plant doesn't fight back. So the olive tree doesn't fight back. It turned out to be that saturated fat from food causes disease. Is that clear so far, or because the lecture itself is about aging, how we reverse it, how we're going to reverse it. So I'm preparing you to what's the stuff I put in your chair to start with, and I worked this afternoon very hard to stable it together, so you can get some idea about your health. Then, so the animal fat. So the opposite of animal fat is vegetable oil. The opposite of the sugar is whole wheat and whole grain, right? The opposite of too much animal fat is vegetable protein. You got that, right? Okay, now, we come to all of these things, by the way, I mentioned, everyone can cause disease right here. Remember, the first child didn't have a problem with that. It's 40 generations later, 400 generations later, we gradually start ruining our life. How do we know that? You go to the British Museum, to the archives about the soldiers, you can see the development of disease in front of you year after year after year until 1870, and the disease, heart and cancer went like this, sky high. It went up, the curve went up, and that's the year we discovered juicing and making sugar. Was 1870. By 1970, it took another curve, went up so high. I want you to just imagine what curves looks like. It went like this, 1970, and went like this, 1870. What happened in 1970? We didn't know until somebody from Harvard told us that that's a year Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and 7-Up replaced glucose by fructose. Because fructose is sweeter than glucose, and they can save 1 cent a can. They can save 1 cent per can, then they switch for that. Did they make a study? how dangerous it is to consume so much fructose? No, they did not. Are they aware that fructose can be dangerous in high quantity? Yes, they are. Because if any of you is a chemist, or any of you is a biochemist, or any of you study liver, the liver does not have enzyme to digest, to break down fructose. It has enzyme to break sucrose, mannose, galactose, glucose, but fructose, very limited quantity. So you're giving sugar to the body that the body loves and keeps, says a sugar all the time in the blood, that people like to drink that all the time, the kids, and add some caffeine to it to make them stimulated. Then you got the sugar and you got the caffeine, then you get addiction to sugar and addiction to caffeine, right? So this is what happened through history. Then we come to the vitamin part. And I told you that 30 years ago. I'm not going to go over it again. Vitamins are essential part of the human cell. If you look at human cell, this is the cell right here of a human being. And that cell, if you magnify it, you'll find the cell has a membrane, and it has hands like this, hands like that, and those hands are the omega-3 oil, fatty acid from salmon, and wild salmon especially, or sardines or mackerel or any of those species. Then inside there's vitamin E. Then inside there's a nucleus. And the food that comes in, protein or sugar or fat or any of those goes in to inside to generate energy, because this cell have some guy sitting right here with two hands, and next to him there is a laboratory right here called mitochondria, which if you have read about Vivix, it does help the mitochondria, help the nucleus. Inside the mitochondria, there's a chemist working, his name is ATP, and he have a telephone next to him, and then when he gets a call from the father, the DNA, at 5 o'clock in the morning he gets a phone call that we need some energy, that person needs to go to work. So your blood sugar when you sleep is much lower than your blood sugar during the day. Your blood pressure when you sleep is lower than when during the day. You follow me or no? You don't need to have sugar when you sleep. So this guy here, he called this one here, he told him we need food. So the food will get in protein or sugar or fat. This guy here will burn it, and it's food plus oxygen equal energy plus waste. This is the human cell. That's how it works. That when you feed it any food, it gives you back energy, but also produces what? Waste. The waste in chemistry we call it free radicals. So I want you to know, our enemy now are the free radicals. Aging is caused by free radicals. The free radical, I'm going to go back to the sons of Adam. What happened? In the cell right here, there's another guy sitting here on the other side. He filled the waste and he takes it and he puts it, let me find a brown color, but Uh, and there is a reason behind that. So the waist is going to be orange. This guy here, which is vitamin E, he puts the waste outside here in the blood. And here comes the vitamin C and grabs it and takes it out through the kidney. So you see how simple is the body clean itself? All the time. How much of that goes on inside the body? In the brain, for example, this process right now, when you're looking at me, 1 million reaction per second. 1 million different things happening per second inside your brain. Are you following me or not? We talked about in the brain lecture. The amount of waste produced is huge. And the more you read, the more you exercise, the more you do, the more free radical you produce. The more you sleep in nursing home, the less free radical you're going to produce. As a matter of fact, you can lose your memory, you can vegetate right there and die and nobody even know you're there. Because you're not using the body. But if you are one of those people using his body, just like I did to all my patients, I have 0 patients in nursing homes. 0. I tell my patients, you are with me until we die together. When we start using Shaklee products, about 30 years ago, for something like that, my patient who used Shaklee, 30 years later, they're still alive. They do much better than anybody else who's not using Shaklee. And now we have new technology. The Vivix came out, even prolonged that more. Then the ACP machine was developed in America. We use that now, that even allow more rebuilding the heart and all of that stuff inside the body. So the process is good, detoxification. What happened then, if this person have deficiency of this vitamin or this, what will happen to the cell? We'll have accumulation, right? Of what? Free radicals. If you have accumulation of free radical inside the DNA, you know the DNA is also alive. What happened to the genes with DNA next to it, with the free radical next to it? It gets defect, it gets mutated. And we showed the picture right here many times to you in Harvard Medical School, American College of Physicians, the picture showing the free radical damaging the DNA and all of that. But we discovered that this process of aging in the cell, it has a counterbalance. It's an antioxidant here and here, and even inside the DNA itself, inside, there are bioflavonoids right here, inside, which is powerful antioxidant. And that's what I did my PhD on. It was the bioflavonoids in the DNA. What do they do? I remember 1963, I started my PhD work, 64, 65, 66, 67. Then 67, there was a war in Egypt, between Israel and Egypt. Then I didn't care because I'm doing research and I don't pay attention to politics because that's my field, is nutrition. And then all of a sudden, my professor asked, I asked him, why do you want me to do a PhD in bioflavonoids? He said, one day you're going to find out. Those bioflavonoids, which is the colorful things in fruits and vegetables, that anti-cancer. They correct DNA. They do so much for human being that in the future you would discover, that's about 40 years ago, you discover that that's something going to prevent cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer, and those are the diseases going to spread through the whole world. this man was genius. Then when I was doing my research, I'm about to finish my PhD, I told them I got a letter from the Russian officer that occupied Egypt, Russia at that time, that I must go to the army, and I don't want to do that. He said, what do you want to do? I told him I want to leave the country. He said, you know, if you have a PhD, you cannot leave the country. So I'm going to notify the government that your PhD was put on hold until you leave the country. So that's how I came to the United States, through telling them, I don't have my degree, you gotta let me go. Same thing with all my brothers, everybody did the same thing. Because I asked, my friend asked me, why do you do that? Why don't you want to go fight? I said, it's really hypocrisy for me to be doing research to save lives, and in the meantime carry a gun to kill life. And I really don't care about land. As far as I know, if I told my brother at that time, if Israel want Egypt, they can take it. They can take all the desert. I don't care. There's so much land, it is not even worth killing one single human being, for a whole continent. You follow me or not? It's sacred. Human life is sacred. It cannot be killed. And you see people stabbing each other, and you see guns, and you see wars, and you see that. It's unbelievable. And then everybody finds excuse why they do it. He's different, he's black, he's white, he's Jewish, he's Christian, he's Muslim. Whatever reason, I don't buy it. I just buy the stupidity exists among human race. Because if people will love each other, and accept each other, regardless what color or race or belief, we all get along with just fine. But we have that greed. As a matter of fact, I was told when I came to Illinois that you don't have to worry about it as an Egyptian. When we came as Italians, they also segregated against us. I didn't know that. And the Germans said they did it against, so even from the same race, there was even hate against each other. We're not created that way. So, if we don't have this blue stuff called bioflavonoids, that's what Vivix is. Vivix is powerful DNA protector. That the DNA mutation right here that lead to disease, it can be reversed and corrected by having enough bioflavonoid. Are you following me or no? You can read about it, you can do study about it, but this is what my PhD is about. What kind of disease we're going to have? Many diseases, we're going to talk about it. It's in your handouts. Later on, we're going to talk. You don't have to look at it now, because we're going to go through every page of this later on. I just want to prepare you for this scientific stuff you're going to see here. So, why this got to do with the vitamin? Because there is a vitamin deficiency in the food we eat. Do you believe that or you don't? Anybody here does not believe that we have vitamin problem in the food? Doctors believe that nobody needs vitamins because the food is just perfect. Is the food perfect? I'm a farmer. I farm 600 acres in Antioch, Illinois, organically fertilized soil, and I know my crops do not produce as much as the guy next door who puts pesticides and herbicide and hormones, and my crops is half of what his production, but doesn't matter to me. My product is good, his is bad. So the vitamin is deficient because it's an antioxidant, and if you have an orange from orange tree from Orange County, California, or Orange County, Florida, what do you have in the air? Smog. What is a smog? It's free radicals, right? Reactive oxygen species, reactive nitrogen species, reactive sulfur species, ROS, all the scientific, or ozone. So, if this orange here, squeezed and you have orange juice from it, are you getting the vitamin C? The answer is yes. But what type of vitamin C? Is it the vitamin C with empty hands? You know I'm talking about that antioxidant? Or the vitamin C with full hands with smog that's been oxidized? So the food can get spoiled and oxidized in the tree from the air, or the water, or storage, or squeezing. And that's what Dr. Shaklee did. That's what I did. Back in 1963, I decided to do my research because I believe the world's going to have deficiency and they need supplements. Dr. Shaklee said, okay, no, I'm going to do different. I'm going to make soy protein and Vitally, and I'm going to guarantee people that they feel healthy. And being a doctor and hearing that from him, I was very happy because I need to hear that. And then I need to ask him, is this organic? He said, yeah. I said, good, that's what I buy. So if I am buying right now close to $800, $800 a month of vitamins to buy myself and my family, why should I do that if it's not a good product? You follow me or no? I can go to buy one a day. I can buy Centrum that made from gasoline, and I can buy 500 tablets for $1. Do you believe, really believe, a bottle of vitamin C that has 500 tablets for $1 is good? Somebody is fooling somebody. And I tell you what, I have seen products with my own eyes when I opened the top to see what is this for $1. It turned out to be dirt inside. Not even grass cutting and dirt coming from China and coming from other countries. They export it and you sell it in Walmart and Kmart and every place because people think this is truth. Supplements, antioxidants are deficient in our diet. And if they are deficient in our diet, they're going to be deficient what? Where? Think with me. Inside the cell. They're going to be deficient where? Inside here. In the nucleus, DNA. How are you going to explain to your children they're born with disease like diabetes, heart disease, that because you yourself did not take care of yourself? You follow me or not? The issue is not you. The issue is your children. You're going to bring to the world. And if you have whatever disease, it's not too late to teach that stuff, especially people getting married, that start right away taking the right protein, the right carbohydrate, the right fat, the right vitamins, and then now also the right water. It is sad to tell you that the consumption of water went down, consumption of Coke and alcohol went up. So that's also a problem. And also the minerals. How many minerals do you think a human being needs? Let me give you an example. If we take the dust of somebody who died and take that dust and analyze it, and go to the organic soil of Brazil in the rainforest, the forest that never been touched by a human, you will find exactly the same minerals in the rainforest, exactly the minerals of that guy just being burned. We Muslims don't believe in burning bodies, but some people believe in that. But so I take the dust and analyze it, and I find it has everything 55 trace minerals. Some of them are poison, cyanide and cobalt and silver and gold. Do you think somebody can make a supplement with cyanide in it? How are you going to get it? Through vitamin B12. If you look at Shaklee vitamin B12 in the Vitalizer, it's made from cyanocobalamin, cyanide. But the cyanide in the B12 there is different than the cyanide you want to poison somebody with. You follow me or not? When it is organically fertilized soil, the plant can suck anything it wants and make all these vitamins and fruits and things like that. So the minerals you have to take, which I have contributed to Shaklee Company idea of making the Vitalizer myself. When I was on a conference call one time about 4 years ago, and I said, you know, what do you think, Dr. Nasser, we should do? The Shaklee Company, the scientists were asking you, what do you think we should do? Because you practice medicine, what's your idea? I told him, I really think we should have a product that has everything. Rather than old strip, you remember the old strip we had, you can buy for $1? I said, put everything in it, sell it for $2 or $3. Then people will love it. And also, there's no oxygen to damage the tablet. That technology is not available to every company. This man, Roger, he have done marvelous job in technology to produce Vivix and Vitalizer. These are two miracle products that he produced. And there's nobody in the world can copy it, because if you want to copy it, you have to pay probably 3-4 times as much. You can, but it probably costs you a lot more. So that's the benefit of Vitalizer, and that's the benefit of Vivix. Right here he is. That's the first human being right here was perfect. This human being right here, his DNA is mutated. Then he produced in the children with what? With disease. I don't want to talk about aging of the specific organ tonight. I'm talking about aging process in general. This is what happened when I was sitting last night. I was saying what I'm going to be talking about, and I said, oh, I'm going to talk about the original human being, and then I'm going to add what disease. I came out with, now we have tons of diseases in human race. You start from the top. You will help me, okay? We're going to work it together. Do we see aging of the brain or not? Right? Do we see aging of the eye or not? Do we see aging of the hearing or not? I'm taking the brain, I'm going down. You know the brain has lots of things, more than I can imagine, you know that. Then, do we have an aging of the circulation to the brain or not? Do we have aging of the skin or not? The heart, the kidney. So, why we're going to waste time by going to specialists? Where the basic thing is right here. What we're going to do, we're going to go back to this person. We're going to give him the right stuff, increase the sleep and the exercise, and decrease the stress. Because stress is bad for us. So I want you to watch this, because this is really something very interesting. If you have a little bit of a brain, you will see that. Lack of nutrition can cause more stress. And now we're talking about the new human being. Stress creates consumption of vitamin C. Stress If I say, oh my God, that here goes 100 milligram vitamin C. You follow me? The antioxidant is there to protect you. People ask me, why you take so much? They always say you're wasting your money. I'm not wasting my money. When I take 2 vitalizers a day, nowadays, because the swine flu's around, the flu's around, and I want my immune system to be better. What am I losing? $2.50 a day extra? I spend more than that in gas going to work. You follow me or not? It's sad when I tell people about the Vitalizer and the Vivix and all that, they always talk about money. And I look at their shirt, the make of it, or the pants, the make of it, or the shoes. And I find out, I said, look what you spend on your pants and this and this. And let me see what car you drive. We go to the parking lot. I want to see your car. Then I see BMW. I say, look at my car. I drive a Volkswagen right there. So, your health is #1 in your life. If you lose it, you got nothing. You got nothing. Believe me, do not be cheap for yourself. You have to think about #1. #1 is who? You. If you're not good to #1, you're not good to #2. Who's #2 in your life, you think? Your children and your parents. Why not your spouse? Because you can replace the spouse. But you cannot replace the children. And you cannot replace the parents. You follow me or no? Don't be that fanatic guy who goes to his wife and big and now you my God, everything in my life. Come on, cool down, you know. You just want to kiss her or do something. That's why you say all the stuff. But the real love is the one who bore you, carry you 9 months, and whatever you do, she still love you. Right or wrong? Right. And it doesn't matter if she's alcoholic, and if she's bad, if this, and it's still #2. You follow me or no? And you can keep judging people. Oh, my mom smoked, my mom drinks, my mom yells. It doesn't matter what she does. If we look at all the scriptures to the children of Israel and Jesus and all the Muslims and all that, it's always the son to respect the parents. It never says the parents respect the son. Never the opposite. So, oh, take care of your parents, take care of your parents, take care of your parents. It never says take care of your children. You follow me? It's one-way street. They struggle for you through life. They're not perfect. But #2 children, you make them, then you take care of them. I was honored to get a package from China this weekend, 32 pages, of a child being found 20 centimeters from a gate of a welfare society in one China cities. And that child was taken care of by them, and somebody in Arkansas, or one of my patients, wanted that child. So they need a doctor to evaluate that child and bring him to the United States. You follow me? I read the moment the child was found and went through minute by minute, hour by hour, I almost want to cry. They've done a marvelous job to take care of that baby and documented everything, and a family. A child have hepatitis B, that's okay, have tachycardia, which is malnutrition, which we can take care of that with. Most likely going to put them in shackle stuff when they arrive here in February. They're going to pick them in February. But children, you have them take care of them. The best way you can take care of a child, nutrition and education. Don't allow children to guide you you have to buy candy, you have to put Coke, you have to put Pepsi. If you love somebody in Valentine's Day, you don't give him a chocolate full of sugar. You follow me or no? Give him a flower, give him a rose. You follow me or no? Why chocolate in Halloween? Put some Vitalia in a Halloween bag. You know, it's really, I really respect you to take your time and listen to stuff tonight, because you could be watching the basketball game starting tonight. I think the Bulls are playing someplace in San Antonio, I think. I think they're going to get beaten, but that's okay. But I don't like San Antonio. I like the Bulls, but they're probably going to get beaten. But to take your time and come, I want you to be the teacher of the Word. Because I'm 68, and I've been doing it for 4 years. And I do it for free. And I'm doing it the day after tomorrow in Spanish, for free. Why I do all of that? Do I need patients? Come to my office, see how many patients I have. I had to leave 4 patients in the office today to come to the lecture. 4 patients. I told them, I'm sorry, I cannot see you. I got to prepare the lecture. And please, you're one of them. You're right. You came all the way, and I appreciate you. Go back. I'm sorry.
Yes.
See right there. Because if I'm spending time with him, it's going to be quality time. We need to go over it. If I can't give the quality, I thought, no, I cannot see him. I have a lecture. And I don't want to be stressed. And I'm not stressed. I enjoy being with you, and I appreciate you take this information on the DVD and share it with other people. Doris was right. If I quit medicine, which is possible I might, if Obama succeed of canceling Medicare, this means, it depends how much law is going to be. There are some people who say there are going to be laws. If you do preventive work, you get penalized. $50,000 or something like that. I can't practice like that. If you come to me to be examined, I'm going to check your circulation, I'm going to check cancer, I'm going to check diabetes, I'm going to check aging, I'm going to check for everything and give you a picture what you look like and what can you do. But they wanted to cancel all of that, that the only thing you're entitled to is CBC and chemistry, and that's it, your analysis, and no mammogram, and no more colonoscopies, and no more, and none of that stuff. And I hope he fails. So in any case, I voted for him, by the way, and I hope he fails. So the main issue is my patients are more important to me than my president. Because that life, that valuable life they have, when 30 years ago I met Shaklee people, and then I told them, if you make changes in your diet, 30 years later, we're going to see that we both going to be alive and healthy. Right now, the patient I saw at 60, now they're 90, and they're doing well. And with Vivix, they're going to do even better. Then we have a problem in this brochure, which you have in your hand, that I want to show you, discuss some of this issue. The first picture is heart with daggers inside it. You see that? I summarized some of the problems that affect us in aging. Excess synthetic estrogen from pesticides, herbicides, and weed killers and meat. Excess fat from eating too much sugar. Low testosterone. We see tremendous low free testosterone in women and men. Testosterone is not a hormone only for sex. Testosterone is a major hormone in memory and muscles. Excess homocysteine. Have you heard about homocysteine? Anybody here have not heard about homocysteine? You raise your hand. Okay, then I tell you what. I have in the third page, right here, you see the guy is walking right here. I made this copy for you, and I said, high homocysteine is implicated in dementia. You see that? The association between high homocysteine and Alzheimer has been proven with no doubt. Homocysteine is 100 times more toxic than cholesterol. It's a poisonous amino acid that you make yourself. And the only way you can lower it is through a process called methylation, which is the vitalizer, and plus what we give people sometimes intravenously, methylation once a month, to try to break it down. But we measure it first. Homocysteine, in the next picture, in the next page right here, in the next page, it says, brief overview of methylation homocysteine. I want to just go to the paragraph. Says, one of the saddest aspects of history of this decade is ignoring homocysteine. Do you know homocysteine was discovered 30 years ago? And do you know we were told about it only 10 years ago as doctors? The drug companies and universities hid it from us for 30 years. They were trying to make a medication for it. They failed. Then they let us have it, and then we succeeded lowering it with vitamins and minerals. But right here, you can take it with you home and you read all the details. And then in the back here, all the papers been published about it. You follow me? Okay. So if we look right here to homocysteine, we find out that has something to do with our problems. Low vitamin K and vitalizer have that. Excess cholesterol from sugar. And if you are having high cholesterol and you're taking statin drugs, you know what statin drugs are? I have news for you. It does no good. It has not prolonged life. Your problem is you should switch to omega-3 or Luvasa, that's a drug called Luvasa, or Shaklee omega-3. It will lower it much better because statin drug will dissolve your muscles, dissolve your heart, these aches and pains, and it's not going to do any good. Omega-3 will do a better job. And then oxidized LDL. It clogs the arteries and it causes circulation problems. And Vivix will counter that. The other side, low blood EPA, that's omega-3, we discover in our patients. Elevated C-reactive protein, it's a protein that causes inflammation. So aging process is inflammation process. Fire. Your brain on fire, your heart on fire, everything is on fire. That's why we call it inflammation. That's why the next page we say what diseases inflammation causes. You know, in the page after that. Low HDL, too much insulin, high glucose, nitric oxide deficit. You know what nitric oxide is? That's what Viagra is. Viagra is nitric oxide. Nitroglycerin is nitric oxide. In your daily life, just in daily life living, you make nitric oxide all the time. Nitric oxide keep the arteries open. Without it, it collapses. So we have to tell you that Vivix also helps nitric oxide. And the diseases, next page, that related to inflammation are many, include cancer, heart attack, Alzheimer, congestive heart failure, strokes, arthritis, aortic valve stenosis, kidney failure, lupus, asthma, psoriasis, pancreatitis, allergy, fibrosis, surgical complication, anemia, and fibromyalgia. This is just summary to the aging things that we go through. After I finish, I will have to take a question. Just let me finish first. Now, we have find out beside Vivix and Vitalizer, here is what the nitrous oxide does. The heart beats, send the blood to the body, and if it beats 100%, you get 100% blood coming out. That's in systole. In diastole, diastole is the relaxing phase, which is 90% of the time the heart stops. Nitrous oxide keeps the artery open during relaxation. It doesn't collapse itself. It keeps open. The walls, the endothelial malfunction is not there. This is the nitrous oxide that comes from Vivix. That's what it does. We have noticed that people who have blockage of 50%, they only get 50% blood. And people who have blockage, we notice that everybody over 30 years of age have blockage. We witness blockage as young as 18-month-old. The kids born from their mother with coronary artery disease. I have a picture on that right here, but I don't want to show it to you because we did it in the past. Of those kids died and we did autopsy on them, and I think I showed you in the previous lecture, right? Yes. So when the heart has blockage, circulation and blockage, when it relaxes, it collapses. The artery collapses. And the blockage becomes 90%. And how much blood you getting? 10%. 10%, 90% of the time. And 50%, 10% of the time. You follow me? No wonder you're going to be tired. Because you're not getting good circulation. So we encourage the Vitalizer. We encourage the Vivix. We encourage all of that. But in the meantime, we also work with technology. We discovered that China has a machine that actually it goes on the legs of the patient right here, and it deflates and inflates with the systole and diastole and make the artery big like this. Make the artery extend during diastole by 200% rather than 10%. When it does that, the people feel good. So we didn't know why. The only thing we noticed that time is this picture, before and after. That's the dog picture, by the way. The dog did not have clogged arteries. But what they've proven, white is blood, that by doing it, you increase the blood circulation tremendously inside the heart. So they went underneath here on a human, and they did it on human who have 99% blockage and refused to have the heart surgery. And when they did that, 35 treatment, the picture below, the person developed 10 new arteries. You see them in the picture down below called collateral arteries. You see that? You see that, right? Okay. That process called ECP, I said heal your body with ECP, and I'm writing a book about it. And my first chapter, I summarized it and I put it for you. Nobody else got it. You are the first one who got that. So to prove that we have noticed that this machine not only increased the circulation in the heart, stroke patients recovered. Alzheimer's got better. Ringing of the ears got better. Eye problem got better. Parkinson got better. And how many Parkinson patients you know they get better? Muhammad Ali, the boxer, with all his money, he's still shaking like this and couldn't walk, right? Nobody succeeds with Parkinson. It's brain problem. this process have succeeded with that, and on and on and on. And you have 3 pages of that. So I don't want to waste the lecture talking too much about that. I just want you to take it with you home and know that we have discovered that these arteries here have cells on the wall. These arteries in my hand, these are veins. But let's assume they're arteries. They have cells inside them like that. It's called progenitor. We didn't know that human being can make new arteries. We didn't know that. We find out those little cells, when you give it pressure, they start budding out. For every treatment, they get longer and longer until 35 treatments, they cover the whole artery, the whole heart or the brain or the liver or the lung or the bone, whatever. Our problem in aging from Adam time to our time is a problem of 3 things. Too much chemicals in our air, water, and food. Too much free radicals in the body. Too little nutrients. And then less circulation. The circulation is not proper. We have put people under stress test. And we have them go up to 110% of their maximum to see under the most stressful condition, shoveling wet snow in the winter, are they going to make it or not? So we let them go stressed. We notice that they do fine until you go so high, and suddenly we see blockages, no circulation. Then we stop the test. And we show it to the person, said, this is your heart, take it to your doctor. His doctor wants to do surgery. I warn my patients who have blockage, do not rush with bypass and stents. Surgery is a big business. The moment you put catheter through the groin, which I've done so many of them, all the way to the heart, you're scratching the aorta. Accumulates plaques over the blockage, and you create more blockages. When the heart beats, how many miles of arteries it goes through? Thousands of miles. What is the characteristic of the artery inside? Has to be resistance free, right? If you're going to have a pump, you're going to push thousands of miles and come back, all this in 20 minutes. What do you want? You want an artery that's smooth. But once you scratch it, you're blocking it. So don't rush with surgery on the heart, because you're not going to succeed. You can only come bypass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arteries or stent. You're going to keep doing it. How about the rest of the body? What you're going to do? You got to work with nutrition. You got to work with exercise. You got to work with have enough sleep. You got to work with decreasing the stress in your life. And the stress in your life is from you. It's not from your family. I want to show you this. When you have poor nutrition, you have more stress. Is that true or not true? You want me to prove it to you? Take your children and tell them any bad news. He cares less, right? He had no stress. It doesn't matter to him. You have the stress. You expose two people to the same stress. One screams, the other's quiet. Nutrition helps decrease stress, especially calcium, magnesium, and cinch protein and all these things. Stress can cause disease. Lack of nutrition can cause disease. But stress also can cause toxicity inside the body, more free radicals. And more free radicals can cause stress in the brain, for example. And toxicity can cause also disease. You see how everything interconnected? So if we're looking at this human being here, from Adam until now, what we have done, we have created. Here used to be a triangle. Good nutrition, no stress. Even Adam was running in front of the dinosaur. Still no stress, and didn't have volcanoes and all that, and he doesn't know when he goes to the water if this is a snake or an eel or fish, you know. But that's a stress. And then toxicity, I'm sure there were some things they're exposed to, but they were healthy. How long our ancestors lived? The big thing they tell us that we're such lucky people in the United States and the world that we're living longer. We are not living longer. Because our ancestors lived over 120, over 130, over 140, and we don't know. We were not there, but the literature shows that kind of thing. You follow me or no? And this only makes sense. They had no pollution, they have no stress, they have lots of better life than us. Your own ancestors, don't you think some of your families in the older that they lived to be 90s and 95 or 100, and now you see your cousins and brothers that died at 50 and 60, and right or wrong? We see it in front of us. So we are living longer because we averaged in 1900 the number of children die from pneumonia, cholera, to the number of adults divided by half, and you have the average lifespan 50. You go to Africa, you're going to find 50. Somalia, Ethiopia. Go ahead to Somalia, Ethiopia, give them some antibiotics and get rid of malaria and feed them better, their lifespan goes to 80 just like us. You follow me or no? So we're not living longer, we are living shorter. And then with the Vivix and the Vitalizer and the ECP, I think we expect people to be healthy up to 110, 105, 120, we don't know. But we know, I know for a fact, I have patients over 90 still working full time. Over 90 are working full time. And I tell my patients, don't ever retire. Retirement is not designed for human race. The moment you stay home, that's the moment you're going to die. Unless you're going to be lucky and have somebody like him take you vacation all the time, then you should retire and have a vacation. But the whole issue is this: work, it has interest in it. And staying home is not one of them. You're born in it and you die in it. See what happened to the man these days. You have genetic damage. You have poor nutrition. You have stress. You have toxicity. So you have disease. You have aging. So the answer to free radicals and all the aging process, the answer to it is going to be making a change in the diet, making a change in the living, making a change in the amount of chemical you're exposed to. And if your parents had MS or whatever they had, so what? You can reverse it. Let me just see what time it is before. That's hour and a half, right? Okay. So I have lots more stuff in front of me when I was writing this morning. I wanted to cover more things about nerves and skin and hair and vision and muscle and glands, hormones. We didn't even talk about hormones tonight. How many people their hormones are messed up? Thyroid, testosterone, DHEA, estrogen, progesterone, all of these things we didn't talk about, and that's something we'll do in my office. I'm going to, you have my card in here, and you can call me on my cell phone if you have a question, and then there's no charge for the questions. I will answer you, and I will guide you as much as I can. And thank you very much, and you have a good night. I'm going to take some questions, and it's going to be on the camera, so I will repeat the question for the people who are going to have the DVD. Yes, ma'am.
You know how you recommended the omega-3 for high cholesterol? Do you also recommend the cholesterol complex in addition to it?
No, I don't, because I recommend such high amount of omega-3 that I can't see mixing that with that.
Is the omega and the vitalizer enough, or do you recommend?
It is. It is.
Enough?
It is. The issue is come to the bottom line here: how many bottles the person can open up. I said 1 strip of vitalizer for cholesterol patient and 6 omega-3 plus the Vivix plus the protein, and I figured that's enough. Now, if the person have digestive problem, then you have to add extra. If they have blood pressure problem, then you have to add extra. If they have cholesterol, other cholesterol problem, you might have to add cholesterol regulation. You follow me or not?
Yes.
Just like alfalfa is good for what? Arthritis, joints, right? And somebody comes to you, my doctor, and then I come to you with joint pain, and you have a choice between the pain relief complex versus alfalfa. Which one would you recommend? The alfalfa. Because your horses are doing fine on it. And you want me to have healthy joints as the horses. You follow me? We have to be scientific approach to nutrition. The reason we have good results with blood pressure, with heart attacks, with strokes, with Alzheimer's, with all of that, is not because we have magic. We have science. We go through everybody, and Medicare right here, all your tests until January, until it's changed, done for free. And if you have private insurance, 99% of insurance cover all the testing. We do. However, only the Medicare patients are allowed to have the ECP without paying. And if you are not one of them, you have to pay $7,000 to $10,000 to get the ECP done. Or go to Germany, or go to Mexico, or go to Canada, because if they make it illegal in America, so far it's legal, but we don't know what the new law is going to say. If they say that Surabi is out, even if they approve and the government approved, but we don't know what the change is going to be. So if you are on Medicare, you call the office and then you get qualified for it and you do it right away and you get all the stuff taken care of. I'm going to take the question from the gentleman right there. You had a question for me.
I was just curious what the cytokines are.
What's that? Cytotoxins?
What's listed on the page about the diseases and mechanism?
Yeah.
Information of cytokines.
Yeah. Let me see what you're talking about.
C-Y-T-O-K-I-N. It starts from kidney failure all the way down. It's inflammatory cytokines.
The cytoxins.
Oh, okay, it's called okay.
Cytotoxin. Cyto is cell, toxin, poison. Cytotoxin. That is the stuff we see with people getting older and they have high blood pressure and they have arthritis. We measure something called cytoxins, the cell toxins, the free radicals basically. And some of those free radicals, C-reactive protein, the citrate, rheumatoid arthritis, fibrinogen, and then we can do up to $10,000 worth of blood testing on people in insurance coverage or Medicare. You've got to tell Medicare why you're doing it, what reason. Some guy like you look healthy. Fine. Why are you doing this such expensive for this guy? Because in the history we took together, I noticed this and this and this and this, and that's what I'm doing it for. I am entitled to do that because it's not my lab. I don't need the money, So there's no benefit for me if I do it or not.
Right.
You follow me? And that's what the biggest problem we found is the homocysteine is cytoxin, C-reactive protein is cytoxin, and there's so many other things. We are very practical people. When I measure the chemical that causes aging, I go against it right away with the nutrition and the exercise and methylation or chelation, whatever we do, and lower it right away. And once we started doing that, person comes after a couple of months saying, I'm feeling so much better. I say, fine. That is the reason we get rid of that. Any other question?
Thank you.
Okay, any question? Yes. The man.
If I originally heard that 1 teaspoon of Vivix a day is good enough. Now I've heard more that someone has taken more, and with your thing protecting the DNA, is more better, or is what?
Okay, the question, this is a very good question you said. Remember, I did my PhD on bioflavonoids, and Vivix is bioflavonoid. Vivix have other things in it, resveratrol, lots of things in it, that it does help the mitochondria, has good for arteries, it's good for nitrous oxide, it's good for DNA. Now, when the company made it, and it cost $2.50 a day to take a teaspoon, and they say you don't give it to somebody below age of 14 or 15, something like that, isn't it? It says that, right? Yeah, it says. And the same thing with Vitalizer. I have to prove to my patient that what the company is doing is protecting themselves in front of the FDA not to be sued. You follow me? People are so crazy. You make just one little mistake in their life, they have a headache, and they blame all your products on the headache. You follow me or no? As a matter of fact, I have patients make up their symptoms. I took the Shaklee protein, and now I have eczema, or I have rash, or I couldn't walk, I cannot sleep. You know, and I started laughing. I said, I think you need to see a psychiatrist because I think you're not making sense. But you can sense there are some people there to create problems. I have taken the Vivix when it came out, and I drank a whole bottle on an empty stomach to see if I have nausea or I have heartburn, because it's vitamin C, it has in it, and I'm going to feel it if it is. And it did not bother my stomach. Since I eat lots of jalapenos, Vivix was a treat. But now what I'm going to do to the people said age 14. As a physician, I'm entitled to tell my patients, give it to your kids. You follow me? But I cannot tell it to somebody who's not my patient. So in my own kids, my own family, my friends, I said, yeah, by all means, give the kids a Vitalizer. Give this. Because as a good Samaritan, you try to help. Your intention is to help. And besides, if I get questioned about it, who's going to question me about it when I have finished my PhD in it? You follow me? I'm going to tell them, are you going to tell me how much grape juice I'm going to drink, how much cranberry juice I'm going to drink, how much tomato juice? This is all bioflavonoids. So Vivix is very safe at any age. However, I have to be notified. If you're going to do it against what the company recommend, you got to call me and I got to ask you questions. Why you want to give it? How much you should give? How would you give it? You follow me or no? Some people's stomach are not as sensitive, as good as others. Some people will take a teaspoon and they have cramps. So what I'm going to do, I tell them, eat your dinner, take it after dinner. Just mix it with the food. Now there's no more abdominal pain. You got the point? Okay. Vivix is a great product. By all means, taking a 2 teaspoons a day is a great idea. But I don't think spending on health, $10 a day, is expensive. Since my electric bill or water bill is $800 a month, I think I should spend more than what I'm spending because I deserve it better. Other questions? You have a question?
Yes, the right type of exercise, particularly beyond ECP, like when
The right type of exercise is swimming, walking, rowing machine, stationary bike, and only treadmill if you don't have knee problem or hip problem. But the impact running on the hip and the knees and hips, it can wear it off or wear it. If you plan to live to be 110, 120, you better save those joints to last that long. Because only so many surgeries you can do.
what about the regards to weights? You hear so much about weights.
Weight,
I mean, weights.
lifting weights,
exercise.
I'm not that crazy about it. I think lifting weight is okay. I'm just not, physiologically, it doesn't impress me if the guy have big chest or big biceps or not. It really doesn't matter because after all, the people who die the fastest are the athletes. They're all the ones who have sudden death and have all these heart attacks and strokes and all that. You don't see so many athletes to live over 80 without dying. You see farmers who do not lift weights and living to be 95 and 100. So I think it's overdone. It's overdone in the health spa because people like to build muscles to show it to the opposite sex. Look at me, pick me over the other guy. And the girls doing the same thing. I want it to be healthy from inside out, not from outside in. And lifting weights, if you're going to lift 5 pounds, that's okay. But don't go to 20 pounds, 25 pounds until you tear ligaments and tear your muscles and all this stuff, and you don't need to do that. Yes?
Nutrition and diabetes, how much someone not doing any nutrition and someone doing a good nutrition program, how does it affect the diabetes?
Diabetes is a new disease. It responds very well to diet. The soy complex, eating whole grains, eating fruits frequently throughout the day, every couple hours, little bit of fruit every couple hours. It's all good diet for diabetic patients. Diabetic patient, you don't want the sugar to be too high or too low. So you want to maintain it. And I passed the diet here when I had the digestive lecture, didn't I? I passed the paper about metabolic syndrome diet. Did I do that or not?
Yes.
I think I did, right?
Yes.
Unless I need acuity. I think I did. Okay. In any case, you can call my office and we'll send the diabetic diet to you, which has the Shaklee vitamins and the protein and all of that. My office will send it to you at no charge. Yes?
Other than what you've been talking about tonight, nutritionally, is there anything else we should do as a preventative for these seasonal?
The seasonal flu? Of course, I don't believe in that stuff. I have been practicing for years. I haven't vaccinated any of my patients. I haven't given a flu shot. I haven't received a flu shot. And I'm still surviving. So I believe it's over-exaggerated. I believe it's fear tactic. It seems like Tamiflu company. Last year they put it on sale and they want us to buy it half price and 1/3 and all that. And now all of a sudden you cannot get enough Tamiflu. So I don't know what to believe in. All I believe, I think fear generates business. And I lecture in to the Spanish people. And when I was given a lecture, they asked me when the swine flu break, we're going to Mexico City. What do you suggest? I said, just go. should I have a mask? I said, no. You should have a Benadryl every night or twice a day to seal all the nasal mucosa so any germ would not penetrate you. If you feel there's a school or nursing home or a hospital, you're gonna be exposed to so much, just take a Benadryl, antihistamine, to seal those pores. Then you got the zinc and the vitamin C and all that stuff to add to the diet. You got the Nutrafran to add. So I told them, do all of that. Take extra Nutrafran, take zinc, take vitamin C, take the Benadryl. They went, they came back, and they did not take any vaccine. So I do not believe in swine flu vaccine. I do not believe in flu vaccine. I wanted to just remind you that I was one of the physicians who were involved 1976 and given lectures in the behalf of health department around the country promoting swine flu vaccine that year. And I did, trusting what I was told is true, until I was told stop. I was in Grand Junction, Colorado, about to give a lecture. I said, don't give it anymore. I said, why not? So we discovered it causes MS and ALS and Lou Gehrig's disease, and no more lecture about it. I lost my trust that year. I was still finishing medical school. So I said, I'm not going to believe these people anymore. They tell you something is safe and it's not safe. Who to believe anymore? I think as long as there is capitalism, if society is built on profit, anybody can do anything to get a profit. You follow me or no? And I believe if we have to take a product, we have to think, what can it do to me? What this vaccine can do to me? If it's going to create problems for you and you don't feel that it is suitable for you, don't do it. If you feel, I have a leukemia patient. Just to answer your question. This leukemia patient came in just because I want to put her on good nutrition, and she's 28, and then I looked at her white count, was 1. I said, oh, you just had your chemotherapy? She said, yeah. I said, you have 1 white count means you can have a flu, you can have swine flu, you can have a regular flu, you can have that, and you could die from it. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I want you to take this nutrient, this and this and this and that. Then 3 days later, she had fever. She went to see her doctor in Northwest. The doctor did a swab from the nose, found to be swine flu. Send her home, saying, put a mask on and don't infect your husband and kids and see what happened to you. What it means, go home and die. She came to me crying. I said, why are you crying? She said, I have swine flu. I said, so what? We're going to give you antihistamine, we're going to give you zinc, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. And then within 2 weeks, she's a new person. And the white blood count came up. So even that, I didn't recommend the floor swab. I recommended nutrition is going to do that. And it did it. So nutrition is very powerful if you know how to use it. This product right here is fantastic if you are a clinician and know what to use and what. And if you don't know how to use it, you just can guess. And Shaklee is a scientific company. It's not built on guessing. It's very specific. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering with prostate health as men grow older,
the prostate get bigger because lack of testosterone hormone. That's the reason. And just like, and also progesterone hormone. By the way, we discovered about 2 weeks ago that progesterone hormone in men and women both is a powerful anti-cancer hormone. And that was, I've been using it for 5 years already But this was proven scientifically about a week ago.
So nutrition-wise, is there anything that can be done?
So palmetto, you have that, you have the zinc, but you got to also pay attention. Maybe they have infection. Sometimes the prostate has infection in it. So it goes with age. It's a big problem for men to go to the bathroom a lot, but we counter it with medication sometimes, Avodart and Flomax and Sopalmetto and zinc and antibiotics. And we don't just stop at one thing. We go all the way, because the patient's going to come back in a month. He's going to tell me, I'm miserable, I go to the bathroom 12 times a night, I can live like this. So I have to work it that he can live and sleep properly. Yes?
On Vivix, some people say, take it at the start of the day because it gives you energy.
What's that?
The Vivix. Someone else will say, the body repairs itself in sleep, so I take it before I go to bed.
Both of them are not true. There is no, the only thing you can take a specific time is the soy protein and the cinch. They do give energy, and the core energy, and stuff like that. But if you're talking about Vivix, if you're going to correct the DNA, it's going to take 6 weeks for the Vivix to enter the cell and to go in the DNA and convert it to normal DNA, the gene. So it's not true that that you have to take it. And what you're going to do, I want to ask you a question, all of you. What do you have if you have somebody these days with no jobs, and somebody say to you, I can't afford it? Have you come across that or not? What would you say? What if you're a Dr. Nasser, what do you say to these patients? Social Security check is $690. So much for rent, so much for utility, so much for vitalizer. What I'm going to do? Then I tell them, take 1 teaspoon once a week. Or take 1 vitalizer every other day. You follow me? I do not tell people you must go bankrupt. But I have to stress to that patient that their health is number one. And they got to invest in it. But if they already invested in it as much as they can, then we have to decrease the amount and we hope for the best. Other questions? Yes?
Benadryl.
Okay.
Benadryl. You go to the drugstore, wherever. There are so many kinds of Benadryl on that shelf.
The Benadryl, any Benadryl is fine. There's no Benadryl better than Benadryl. They're all the same. They're all the same. Benadryl with Tylenol, Benadryl without Tylenol. Benadryl is Benadryl. And Benadryl is the safest thing for people to take, is because I have ran trauma centers in early days, emergency room, trauma centers, big hospitals, and we have used Benadryl for babies, infants, children. We never seen any problems. So I like it because we never seen any problems. But you compare it to Sudafed, that you take it and your heart goes so fast. Have you taken Sudafed and you notice the heart? I don't like that. Sudafed is ephedrine, like cocaine, like coffee. That to me is dangerous a little bit for the heart. How about Allegra and Claritin and all that? It's unproven how safe they are. It's a new drug. It's been around for 10 years, 20 years, that's all. Benadryl has been around for 9 years. So we like it better. Yes, back there.
Yeah, I would like, if you have any information regarding diabetes, that maybe I can, you have CDs over there. If you talk specifically about diabetes, because there's a friend of mine who is scared to take anything with sugar, like fruits, the Vivix, the the cinch, it's all got sugar in it, so he's scared that it's gonna make his sugar level.
I think we need a whole lecture about that. Yes, we do. We did have a lecture on syndrome X, and that maybe Doris still have some tapes from it. I'm not sure if there is or not. It's about 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, we did it. I don't remember. Do you remember, Doris, what year?
I'm looking at the list now, because, I mean, that's not gonna hurt a diabetic patient. It's gonna.
Yes, you can hurt a diabetic patient. If you give him sugar, yes, you will help.
Well, right, so I mean, why are people talking about the patients, diabetic patients being put on like Cinch or the Vivix, if it's gonna be harmful?
No, because Cinch is not Vivix, number one. Vivix is not Cinch. Vivix is a concentrated resveratrol, which is grape extract, which if you take a teaspoon, is gonna raise the blood sugar by 1.
Okay,
If you take energized soy protein, which has 9 grams of carbohydrate, is gonna raise the blood sugar by 40. If you take the Cinch, it's gonna raise it by 70. So you've got to deal with the disease. You have to deal with the patient. We have the soy protein that has 0 carbohydrate. And we recommend that to everybody. There's no patient of mine I recommend energized protein except cancer patients or AIDS patients who are losing weight or sick patients. But Cinch and energized we recommend to people who need energy. But people who already have diabetes or have others who want to lose weight, I always recommend the soy complex because I can give any amount I want. I can say take 20 tablespoons a day, 0 calories still. You understand?
yes.
So I can assure myself they get enough lysine, isoleucine, all the stuff the Cinch have in the soy complex without gaining weight. They still got the protein better than having a steak or whatever meat they want to eat. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Patients that you have who want to give their children Nutriferon, what do you recommend?
I give it. Yeah, I would give it because Nutriferon is very safe.
Okay.
I can give a lecture, the whole lecture on Nutriferon. Nutriferon is basically an extract of several vegetables that is specifically antivirus and was developed to help against certain viruses. And